In April 16, 1961, the United States had an attempted invasion of Cuba in the Bay of Pigs, trying to overthrow the government. The United States didn't attack directly, it sent an army of Cuban exiles. They failed. The military wanted to send more soldiers, but Kennedy refused. He didn't even want to attack in the first place, but he went along with it because Eisenhower had approved it already. This event made the military mad. This changed Kennedy's perception of them, for he realized they had too much power and didn't check in with him before making decisions. He didn't want to be the face of a ghost government. There was also a threat of a revolution in Laos, and Kennedy stood strong against the military and didn't do an invasion. So instead, they pressured Laos into a neutral government. This was Kennedy's second strike against the military. In 1961, there was a meeting between the United States and Russia regarding Germany. People from East Germany fled to the West looking for better opportunities, and Khrushchev didn't like it. He wanted complete power over Berlin and to completely separate Germany, for he was afraid the German government might take the American atomic weapons and go against them. The tension grew, and Kennedy stated that if something happened, it was Russia's fault. Russia began nuclear tests, alarming the United States. So in the end, Kennedy let Russia place a wall because a wall is better than a wall. This calmed down the tension, but made the United States appear very weak, upsetting the military once again. They also began to grow afraid of Cuba. They wanted to overthrow Castro and even try to kill him with no success. So they made the Operation Ortsac, which was a rehearsed invasion in an island near Cuba. This was to scare Cuba and show them what they were capable of. During the War of Vietnam, Kennedy used the guerrilla war tactic. Instead of sending soldiers to fight, he sent advisors to train the Vietnamese. It was a nasty war. A herbicide called Agent Orange, which was highly toxic, was used to clear the thick jungle, and many generations in Vietnam were affected, being born with deformities.
In October 1962, American spy planes in Cuba discovered Russian missiles pointing at the US. They freak out when in reality it wasn't a real threat. The Russians just wanted them there so the US could have a taste of their own medicine.
Numerous American missiles were pointing at Russia from many angles. The missiles aiming at the United States were most likely never going to be used.
The military wanted to remove the missiles and invade, but Kennedy denied it, making this his third strike against the military.
The risk he took by not taking action was appearing weak, but taking action could have meant a nuclear war. So his solution was a blockade where nothing could come in or out of Cuba. Doing so would mean war. The moment of most tension during the Cuban Missile Crisis was when a Russian ship got too close to the Cuban coast, making a guarding American ship shoot some warning missiles to tell them to back off. What they didn't know was that below there was a Russian submarine that was hit by them. The people inside assumed the war had started and were moments away from firing missiles to the United States and truly sparking a real war. Luckily, they decided not to, and died. The military kept taking decisions without Kennedy. A nuclear war was just around the corner, and Khrushchev and Kennedy began to lose control of the situation. The missile crisis was finally solved by coming to the agreement that Russia would take the missiles off Cuba if the United States took its missiles off Turkey. They were removed, claiming it was merely for maintenance, but in reality they would never come back. If they had taken action, there would have been a huge chain reaction. For if the United States attacked Russia and Russia returned the attack, the US had atomic weapons everywhere, even China, and it could have ended in a world nuclear war.
Khrushchev didn't want war anymore, and the military went against him and eventually removed him from the power. In the end, Kennedy wanted to remove the troops from Vietnam. because after the Cuban Missile Crisis, his perspective changed because he knew the negative consequences the Cold War could have. And he agreed with Khrushchev that there shouldn't be more nuclear weapons, so he launched a partial nuclear testbed and even worked together with Russia in space exploration. This, of course, angered the military once more.
Kennedy challenged the military a lot during his time in power, for he removed a lot of their power and didn't allow them to take decisions without his consent, the opposite of Eisenhower. Plus, he wasn't a big fan of dropping bombs everywhere and sparking wars. The military was probably among the many people that wanted Kennedy dead because he kept going against them, and also all the people who hated the Russians and were afraid of the communist movement. In the end, neither Russia nor the United States learned from the missile crisis and the Cold War, for both these countries continued mass production of weapons in the fear that the other one might strike first. President John F. Kennedy was shot and killed during a parade promoting his re-election in November 22, 1963 in Dallas, Texas. Decisions he took, like the Laos situation, the Cuban Missile Crisis, and the Berlin Wall, were wrong and weak decisions in the eyes of many. He died doing what he thought was best for the world, not caring about the consequences.